All right, cool. All right, I guess we can get started now. So, Salam Alaikum, everybody. Thank you for joining the call. So my name is Omar Soumare, and I'm a youth leader at Masjid Al-Farooq. So today we'll be having a discussion on racism, involving many of the youth at Masjid Al-Farooq as well. So the purpose of this discussion is just to shed light on our experiences with racism within the non-Muslim and the Muslim community, and also give advice and insight on how we can combat racism within our community and outside of our community as well. So I'd like to give it to each panelist so they can also introduce themselves. So anybody would like to go first?
Like everybody, my name is Moussa, and currently I'm a student. I'm about to be enrolling at Western Illinois University. Yeah, and I'm part of the Masjid Al-Farooq youth program group as well.
All right, who's next?
Salam Alaikum, guys. My name is Amira. I'm a senior at Bloom at the Science Academy. Yeah.
My name is Emaan. I will be a freshman at Kennedy King College.
Hello, my name is Nafisat. I'm 16 and I go to Morgan Park High School. That's it.
All right, awesome. Yeah, thanks for introducing yourselves. So these are some of the youth that's at Masjid Al-Farooq. You know, you see that we range in different ages, but all of us have been here for quite a while now. Like myself and a lot of us others on this call have been here since like a young age, where we've been going to the weekend school, and that's how we know each other, and we've been growing as a community. So just to begin the talk, first thing I'd like to ask is, what is your definition of racism? Like, if you had to describe racism in your own words, what would it be? And you could also give us some other insight on what's important when we think about racism. So I guess I could start with myself. So when I think about racism, I just think about just one group of people thinking that they're better than another group of people just because they possess some type of quality or some type of physical appearance that makes them think that they're better than another group. And the weird thing about this is that physical quality that you think is better than the other person's, it wasn't something that you did to yourself. It was something that Allah gave to you. So like, just because you think you're better than someone by something that you didn't have any control of, I just find that very unpleasant and very weird.
Yeah, most definitely. Mine was kind of around there. Like when somebody said racism, to me that's like one group of people, or like whether it's color or gender or like whatnot. That's thing like they're above certain people or group of people just because of some difference that appear to happen naturally within themselves, or naturally, which is totally absurd, and just most of like which happen in according to ignorance and arrogance within the person itself.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like a lot of it is with related to arrogance.
When I think of racism, I think of like one group, particularly people, thinking that they are like superior than another group. Yeah, and like them thinking they're superior, that they get more privileged, and like they think they can do whatever they want just because of their skin tone or like, yeah, their race.
Yeah. So anybody else has anything to say?
I pretty much agree with everybody on that racism is really just people that think that they're better than other people just because of their differences. and not just like the color of the skin, but also culture. Like they eat something different. They feel like they're better in that regard.
Yeah, I agree too. I think racism is just when you like discriminate against people who don't have like the same culture or the same skin color as you. So that's what I think.
Yeah, I agree with all of these points. And also I wanted to mention that like when you think about racism, it's actually different types of racism. So in a way you can say it's implicit racism, and then there's also explicit racism. So like with explicit racism, that's what we used to see like a lot back in the day with like slavery and Jim Crow. Like people would like openly call Black people the N-word and lynch them in public as well and do all these harmful acts to them. But nowadays we see more implicit racism. So this implicit racism is not something that most people shed light like you wouldn't really know somebody's racism because they really show it implicitly. And that's what we see nowadays with the system that we have, like systematic racism. And with systematic racism, like they won't say racist things out in the open, but like what they're doing is considered racism. So I feel like with the implicit racism, that's like way more dangerous than explicit racism because you don't know who
Omar, you're
exactly.
crashing.
Oh, I'm crashing. Yeah, I was just saying that I believe like implicit racism is way more dangerous than explicit racism because you could be sitting next to somebody and you won't even know that they're racist or not. But going on to the next topic, you know, we've been seeing like a lot of cruel behavior and racist acts against Black people nowadays. And it's not something new, but it's been going on for quite a while. But this year alone, we've seen so many instances such as George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, as well as Ahmaud Arbery and countless other names that we probably don't know or do know about. So I just wanted to get a sense of like when you see these things on the news, how did it make you feel? Like when you seen the video of George Floyd suffering for eight plus minutes by that police officer, how did that make you feel?
Oh, you can go first.
Okay, so it made me feel frustrated because like it's 2020 and we still having the same issues. We're still dealing with the same problems over and over again, and I feel like it's just repetition. Like it shouldn't be repetition because we've been expressing our thoughts about this for so long and yet nothing has happened. Like we literally do peaceful protesting and nothing has happened, and then when we do violent protesting, then it's our fault. And like I just feel like it's just repeating over and over and over again. Every year something's happening and we're just trying to like protest and like nothing's happening. And like it was kind of sad because like everybody in the crowd was like, hey, get off of him, like he can't breathe. He said he couldn't breathe and yet the police officer was still on his neck, and like that just made me mad. So.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Going back to the point about whether we do it peacefully or violently is like a lose-lose situation for us. Either way we do it, like people always like provide criticism and saying this is not the right way. But I feel like there is no right way when you're protesting against something that people think is common or people think that's how life should be. Then there's no like right way to go about because it's something that people are already accustomed to, and you're trying to make that change. So you need to make them uncomfortable, and that's what I think that we should keep doing, even facing the criticism.
Yeah, it was very like sad and just frustrating to see because it's like just history repeating itself and nothing's really changing. And like it was just sad to think that that would happen to somebody, but because of their skin color. But if it was a different person with a different skin color, then they would have been taken care of and would have been the ambulance would have been there faster. Like so many things that happened in that situation could have happened differently. But you know, like what I heard our Iman said, what he said that we should make we should take our tragedies and make something good out of it. So I think that it doesn't matter like how we protest, as long as we do it and we show like and we tell people how we feel, then that's what we should do. It doesn't matter what everybody else says, because you can't make everybody happy. So just gotta protest the way we can.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Thank you for sharing that. So like a lot of us are saying that we were frustrated and angry, but oh yeah, you can go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Moussa. Hello?
Now finish your sentence. Go ahead, finish your sentence.
Okay, yeah. So what I was saying is like a lot of us was frustrated and angry, but like I was also the same way. But a question I asked myself is like, what could I do to make this situation better? Even within the frustration, anger, I think it's important to note that we have to take action on ourselves, like, and we have to direct that anger in a positive way. So like one thing I did after watching the George Floyd video was actually making calls to the local officials in Minnesota and signing petitions so that those police officers can be in custody. And by doing that, a couple of days later, we seen the first police officer who had his foot on or his knee on George Floyd's neck get charged into custody. And then a few days after that, we see the other three police officers. So just speaking up and trying to make change in a positive light goes a long way in trying to get justice for these people. Going back to you, Moussa.
Yes, like I kind of like felt the same way, just like everybody else. You know, like seeing some, cause like this could be somebody like, even if he's not like somebody close to you, if like either way or it's like hard to. Let me get my words together. Like situation like that, like on Nafisa say, it happened like so many times. It's like a repetition, and like seeing something like happen, like seeing something like that happen like in 2020, it's hard to believe, like, which is like the reality, and like it's heartbreaking, you know, like and everybody had this should not be happening, and that's the truth, that something like that we should not see in our eyes, and we should like take action with whether it's like anger action. To me, whether it's like anger action, peaceful action, like take any like sort of action, like in order like to stop this kind of thing, because it's like, you know.
Yeah, I know what you mean, Moussa. Like everybody has to do their part in order for this tragedies to go away. And I feel like we shouldn't move past this year until we see these changes occur. So like moving forward, we see these acts against other people in the news, such as George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. But maybe we could talk about our own experiences with racism. Like, is there anybody that wants to share like their experiences with racism, whether it be within the non-Muslim community or the Muslim community? It can be anything.
I remember when I was in Morocco, they called us like the N-word when they saw us. And yeah, that was basically like, I was just so surprised because like I didn't expect it to like happen in like a whole nother country, like an Arab country, you know. And like it's in Morocco, so like in Africa. But yeah, they called us the N-word, and we didn't know how to react. We were just like, what? So yeah, that was kind of like shocking to me. I wasn't mad or anything about it because like, one, they probably didn't know the meaning of it. Two, I don't know, it just wasn't like, I don't know, I didn't really feel anything. I just
right.
Right.
Yeah, I would probably say I had a similar experience, but I didn't have anybody call me an N-word. So like the form of racism that you had was probably more of an explicit racism, but the one that I'm going to talk about is more of an implicit racism. So you know, I graduated from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. We have a lot of international students there. So I've had some instances where like where I'll be walking in the street and I'll be walking behind this like international student, right? and this international student kind of got scared and he just started like doing a little sprint just to get away from me. He thought I was gonna harm him or something. So that's like one of the implicit racism that I see. Like people are just biased against Black people when they see them, and they see they kind of view us in a way that the media views us, even though that may not apply to each and every person. So that's just one of the racism, acts of racism that I feel like I've experienced. And when you think about these acts, it's like a spectrum. So we see like the small acts such as like what happened to me, and then we see something that's a little bit greater, like being called the N-word, and then we see acts of racism such as against George Floyd, where it ends up in death. So when you think about these acts of racism, there's definitely a spectrum to it. And I think we should just really start at the lower spectrum. And once we get rid of all of those like lower acts of racism, such as biases and being called like racial slurs, then we can move on to the higher points. So yeah, that's enough for me. If anybody else wants to share their forms of or experiences with racism.
I haven't had like any personal experiences, but I do know like people around me have had experiences like, and it's mainly from like Muslim communities that I've noticed. I haven't noticed anything in terms of racism from the non-Muslim community for me personally, but like some of the major Islamic events that we'll go to, like ISNA or ICNA, and like I'll be there with my mom, and I notice that there will be a reaction to me differently than there is to her, just because of the color of her skin, and like maybe we'll go up to a booth and then we'll ask about a certain product, and generally the people, they don't look at her if she's the one asking the question, they like completely ignore her, and then generally like me that they focus on when they're explaining something.
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting experience, I would say. Like we kind of see that a lot. Like just because like maybe one of our family members is lighter than the other, like people would be more open to that lighter family member. And I think that's just all the way just totally wrong.
Yeah, I agree. I don't want to say any like names or anything like that of like the groups, but like, yeah, I've experienced like just people showing like, I don't know how to explain, like their attitude towards me and their attitude towards someone else would be different just because of like, I'm not sure if it's because of my skin color or just like, I don't know, but like the way they act towards me is different from how they act towards someone else. Whether like I'm in line or something, like the person behind me, they're much more nicer to them than me. Yeah, I've experienced it.
I don't think I really experienced any like racism. I don't like, I'm trying to think back, but I don't think I've ever experienced it. Maybe like just people being dumb. Like I don't really know how to like detect it, because some people they be off the bat with it. They know, but me, like I never really experienced it. Maybe if I did once, I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to really identify your experiences with racism, especially if you haven't had much encounter with it, or you can't really read the person. Like a lot of times when people face racism is because it's more explicit, and like when it's more implicit, you can't really tell if they're being racist or not. You just kind of assume it. But yeah.
There was another incident that happened like years ago when I was younger. I think this would be considered like explicit racism. My mom, she had a daycare, and there was an Indian boy that she would babysit, and I just recently found out that my mom, she told me that the mother, she said that she was one of the good ones, that my mom was one of the good ones in terms of Black people. So I don't know what that's supposed to mean in terms of if that would that be considered like explicit racism, like microaggression?
Yeah, I think it'd probably be related to like microaggression and kind of implicit as well, because they're probably making these comments without even realizing that these comments are really harmful to other people. So I think that's like one thing that we should take into account, like just to educate people on their actions and make sure that what they do is makes us feel welcome and also falls in line with our values and beliefs. Yeah. So if anybody else has something to share, you can share. But if not, I'll move on to the next thing.
I don't think I've experienced like a lot of racism in Chicago, just because I feel like it's so diverse that people don't care about your religion or like your race. Like only if you go to like the suburbs or like I don't know, even downtown, like it's just like diverse. Like I don't think people will just come up to you and be like, like and call you out. So yeah.
Yeah,
For sure.
I agree with that too. Like I'm on the track team, and usually my coach he takes us to like competitions like way out in the suburbs, like around Evanston and stuff like that. So like that would probably be the place where I would experience like racism or discrimination because we're usually the only black team there, or like it will be like one other black team, but most likely we're the only black team there, and we win a lot, so they get mad about that. But yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. Like Chicago is a really diverse city, but it's also a segregated city as well. So like you have like the black people living with the black people and Latinos living with Latinos and white living with white. There's not many neighborhoods that's like really diverse. So like your chances of encountering racism in your own community is kind of small. It's like when you move out to the suburbs and places where they don't see a lot of diversity, that's when you see those acts of racism amplify. Yeah. So like moving on, like so all of us on this call are from the Masjid Al-Farooq community, but when you go to other Muslim communities and other masajids, how do you feel and how do you think they perceive you? So I guess I could start off with
Can
just.
you say that again, please?
So the question I have now is going on to different communities or different Islamic communities in Chicago and within the Chicago area. So like when you go to these different masjids, other than Masjid Al-Farooq, that have people from different backgrounds, how do you feel when you go there, and how do you think they perceive you as well? So like I can start by saying like a lot of times we go to different masjids, a part of the youth group, right? And we visit these youth groups, and for the most part they're welcoming, and I enjoy doing like interacting with other youth from different communities. But they are welcoming, but I don't know if it would be the same if we showed up uninvited, because most times when we do go up there, we go up there invited. So if we were to show up uninvited, will we feel that same type of love? So maybe if you guys have any experiences of showing up to a masjid uninvited, did you guys get any like experience anything out of line?
Okay, so like I really don't want to make this like stereotypical or whatever, but like whenever you go to like a Arab masjid, I know it's not every Arab masjid or like everybody, but whenever I go, it's just so like weird. Like the vibe is not good. Like at the masjid, I guess because I know people at the masjid. Actually, no, because I don't know everybody at Masjid Al Farouk, but I always get like a welcoming vibe when I go to the masjid, and like whatever we go for like Eid, even if we don't know everybody. I mean, I said Eid, Ramadan, when we go to break our fast, like even if we don't know anybody and they're new and they're just coming to the masjid to break their fast, it's still welcoming when we're like sharing all the food and stuff. But whenever I go to like masjids in like California, it's like very, very like weird. I have to be with like my aunt because like they go to the masjid that they go to, they know a lot of people there, and so like I just stay close by their sides, or like my friends that I know from like my family members, I will be with them, but I don't really go out and try and say Salam Alaikum to everybody because it's just the vibe is not it's not there. It's not a good vibe. And then like I don't, I hate to make this about gender, but like the men's side is a little bit way more like welcoming than the women's side, because when I enter the masjid, no one says salam alaikum or anything like that, nothing at all. But then like my brother, like Abi, when he goes on the men's side, he's like talking with people and everything like that after Juma, and that's never the case with me.
And this masjid that you go to, is it a diverse masjid? Like, what would you say is the majority of that masjid?
It's a lot of Arab people. It's in California, so it's not even a lot of black people in the first place. So we're usually like, I want to say no, it's about a few people that are probably like black or like white, but it's mostly Arab.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
appreciate you for sharing that. And I think you make a good point at the beginning of what you just said. Like, it's not every masjid and it's not everybody, but we just need to like just watch out what we say. We don't want to offend people, even though they may not be racist, but we still want to educate them in the event that they may be doing something that's not that may be racist, you know. So we're not here to like put the blame on anybody. We just want to educate and just share our experiences and what we think. And maybe whoever is watching this, or if you're from a different masjid, you can just maybe explain maybe why we feel this way or why you think your masjid tends to perceive people this way.
Yeah, I just want to add on to like if there's a masjid and like the population is mostly like Arabs or like non-black people, obviously it's gonna be like hard to fit in, hard to fit into like the masjid because like, not like a lot of people like you. So like for example, when I went to like this masjid all the way in the suburbs, and like we were like the only black people there, so like it was kind of hard to adapt. But like on the men's side, like how Nafisa said, like my dad, he was more like greeted by people, and then like for us, we were just like by ourselves. We were just sitting like by ourselves, so it was kind of like hard to adapt to like a place that no one was like welcoming to. So.
I wanted to add on something too to my thought. So like when I say like I already know that when you first go to a masjid that you're not used to, like it's going to be hard to fit in like any masjid that you go to because you don't know anybody. So like to add on to my thought, I've been going to that masjid for a long time. Like I go to California every summer, so I always go to that masjid, and I still don't like know a lot of people. It's only like 3 people that I know, and they're family friends. So that's what I like mean by it's not really welcoming because I go there so much already. Yeah.
For sure. So,
go ahead.
And I was gonna add on like, so what do you guys think these masjids could be doing to help alleviate that problem and help people feel more welcome?
I don't know. I think like just the basic, just say Salam Alaikum to like other people because like they don't say that. They just look at you and like they just need to do the basic, just saying Salam Alaikum to everybody.
Yeah, I think that'll go a long way. Like just greeting people and just showing a smile on your face just to make people feel welcome. Because like when you don't feel welcome, you may think that they're being racist, but maybe they're just not just that open, you know. So it could go either way. It could be because of they just don't want to have like engaged interaction, or it's because they don't want to be, or they're racist or something like that.
Yeah, I agree. Like a simple hello can change like everything, a person's attitude and everything. You can spark a conversation just by saying hello to somebody because you never know what you guys have in common.
Most definitely. So so like when it comes against combating racism, how do you think we could educate the community and also the ourselves and people that's close to us?
I feel like teaching people the correct history. Oh, I think Moussa wanted to say something.
All right, now you can finish your point.
I was just saying, like, just teaching people the correct history. So, like, when we learn about like history and stuff, it's not correct. So, like, we're seeing society in like the eyes of some other people because they think they're better. But we need to see like the history for the way it was and how it was actually represented. How it was actually represented. So, like, if we teach the correct history, people would know and they would like respect. They will give respect where respect is needed, you know?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like education is pretty much key when it comes to this issue. And as you said, like we need to teach the correct history, because like a lot of times within our own school systems, like the history of blacks is always downplayed. So like when you look at slavery, it's more intense than what it's displayed in the textbook. So like I just think trying to shed light on the struggles of African Americans and blacks in America would go a long way in trying to have people connect to us and understand where we're coming from.
Yeah, so just adding on, like just educating them, and then like if they do like want to be arrogant and just like not listen to you, then just let them be, because like that can escalate really quickly, and like if that escalates really quickly, there can be like problems between each other, and like it can just like become a very big problem. So if they do not want to listen to you, then that's just leave them be. At least you try educating them.
Yeah, you guys, all of you guys, like point out some like great points, and what was you guys saying? And one of the thing I was gonna say, like if somebody said like certain words, like certain word, like Emmanuel was saying, like one of the ladies said like this is one of the good one. So like somebody may see it as like a bad thing, or some other people may perceive that as like, wow, what is she talking about? You know what I'm saying? So like sometimes like let people know like the word choice that you use like may not be like the right one in the situation, you know. And yeah, because sometimes like the word choice can really like be a catastrophic like to certain moment.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like whenever you experience something like that, I think it's in everybody's best interest to speak up. So like once you speak up, you educate the other person that may be doing it unknowingly or knowingly. At least you let them know that what they're saying doesn't sit right with you. And by just having that conversation with them, it'll probably have them like in the future not say those type of words or take those type of actions. So definitely speaking up goes a long way. And then also I like to mention that we kind of see this fight against racial injustice as a trend. So like people will like hop on the trend and hop off the trend every time like something goes wrong. But it shouldn't be like that. It should be like an ongoing thing. Like we should always be fighting against racial injustice, and we should always be speaking up and standing up against it. So one thing I want to see from different communities and society at large is just to keep this thing going as long as it has to be in order for blacks in America to get the justice that they deserve, and not just to do it like when it's convenient or when something tragic happens. It should be ongoing all the time.
Yeah, just to add on to what you were talking about, like right after George Floyd was killed, like everybody was protesting, everybody was posting on their social media, and now like looking back, like looking at it now, like barely anybody's just like posting stuff, and like protesting are like they're dying out now. There's not like a lot of protesting going on, and I just think like, and like a lot of people are saying like on social media like, oh, it's just a trend, this and the third, and like I think that a lot of people just thought that raising awareness on racial injustice is just like a trend when it's not. Just because it's been going on for like so long, and like after like everybody like after like the black community came together and like just started raising awareness, that's when everybody like it came to everybody's attention like, oh yeah, we should hop on this, let them know that we're supporting them, even though they should be doing this 25/8, 24/7.
Yeah, I most definitely agree with that. Like it's something that we should definitely start within our own communities first. And once we get the ball rolling within our own communities, then we should try to push it out towards other communities. Because like I feel like the more for this to be effective, we need to be united, and we need to have like all the black people to stand up for themselves before we have other groups and other other ethnicities to stand up for us. So I think starting from our own community and making sure that we don't think this is a trend within the black community will go a long way in showing to other people that this is a trend as well.
Yes. Yeah, like you guys, like this is like it's something like that's like serious and just like a little thing we see like on TikTok or like IG. You know, this is something that's like need to be changed. And like you said, like it start within ourselves first. Like we have to like show the people that like this is just don't stop last month or like after like the quarantine is over. You know what I'm saying? Like this is something we have to keep talking about it, even though it might feel uncomfortable for some people. Like the things that are uncomfortable turn out to be the best thing sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So like uncomfortable situation bring amazing fruit out of it.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Like I seen something on social media. They said racism is so common in America that when you protest it, everybody is like, what is he doing? Like it's just uncommon for people just to just speak up against racism. So that's what I think we need to do. Just continue to speak up and continue to educate that we don't stand for this, that we want change for ourselves and for society.
Yeah, it's definitely a cycle that we really need to break, because I remember I saw this post that said that our great grandparents were telling our grandparents about Emmett Till, and he would have been 79 yesterday, because yesterday was his birthday. And and then our grandparents were telling our parents about Rodney King, and now our parents are telling us about all these other people, and then most likely, we're gonna have to tell our kids about other people as well. It's just a cycle that just keeps going on.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I like how you bring up that point. Like, it's not so far away from history. Like, this was just like one generation ago. Like, the civil rights movement was only what 50 about 50 years ago, and we still seeing the same things today. And when you think about slavery wasn't that long ago either. So people are thinking like these things are ancient, but it was just around the corner, and change doesn't happen overnight. So we just need to continue fighting and continue speaking up against this.
Correct.
Yeah. So we'll be ending the call soon. So I just wanted to get maybe one thing that you wanted to share that everybody should take away from this meeting.
One thing that I would say is just to like try educating people, like even if it's just something small, and also try to make everybody feel welcome, like people from different backgrounds. Um, yeah, and like don't resist, like like when someone is trying to be arrogant, like I said before, like they don't want to listen to like what you're saying. Just try and just try educating them either way. Like if they don't want to listen, then just leave. Don't cause like a big scene, because a big scene can escalate to like a very big problem. Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay, so one thing you guys can take away from this is, well, we all can take away is just don't be afraid to like tell somebody when they're wrong. Like even if it's an older person, because some older people don't like to listen, but just don't be afraid to correct somebody when it's needed.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Like, I feel like that's what a lot of younger people in other ethnic groups have trouble doing. Like, whenever they make racist remarks, they really have trouble like explaining to their family members, like, yo, this is racist, and they shouldn't do it. But I think for advice for those people is like, just continue to stand on what you believe, and if it's your family member that's making these racist remarks, like just by you continue to stand up against it, it'll like probably change their mind, because they probably have some love for you, and if they do have that love for you, then they don't want to hurt you. So if they're doing something that's hurting you, they'll make sure to stop it. So just keep speaking up against it, and hopefully everything will turn out well in the end.
Yeah. My key takeaway that I would like to say is like what sometimes like careful of your like word choice, and like you mentioned, Omar mentioned like microaggression, like that can be a big thing. So you might see some small thing that's really harmful, which you don't realize, to how damage that can be. Just watch the word tone. And if you see somebody else doing the same thing, just tell them, hey, brother or hey, sister, what you just say may not be like the right word choice. Like next time, be careful what you say. Like try not to tell them like this is not right. You don't have to be all big about it because some people just take everything out like chaotic. And yeah, that's pretty much this. But that's all I have to say.
All right, yeah, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, definitely just being aware of what we say and do. And I think it should go on both sides too, like what we say to others and what other people say to us. So making sure that we keep in mind of our tone and also our word choice is also a good way to go about fighting racial injustice.
My takeaway would be that I don't know if it seems like for some reason like a lot of people seem to have like this denial that there's no racism in the Muslim community when there really is, and it's something we really need to deal with.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just acknowledging the fact that it's there. That's really what we want other communities to realize, and not to like just hide behind it and wait for somebody else to fight against it. Like everybody needs to do their part. Everybody needs to be active against this fight. Because if you really want change, then I think you should fight against it. But if you're not fighting against it, then you're pretty much a part of the problem. So you want everybody to realize that this is a really big issue in the United States and in the world at large. So, anybody else have any final comments to say?
Thank you for for this meeting. It was like really something that we needed. You know what I'm saying? I really enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? To hear everybody's point of view and what they think about this big problem that we have going on, and that's pretty much it, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you for getting on the call and everybody else getting on the call, taking their time to be here today with us to discuss racial injustice and maybe educate others on how they can fight against racial injustice as well. So really appreciate you guys for taking your time to do so.
No problem.
And hopefully we can keep this going, maybe have more people join, have more perspective as well, and more interesting questions to ask our community, and maybe invite other communities as well to join us.
Yeah.
So that's all I have for today. Thanks for joining us, and yeah, may Allah reward you, and we look forward to having you again here. Assalamu Alaikum.
Have an amazing
Bye.
bye.
Yeah, Jazakallah khair.
Bye.
All right, see you guys.